hello. It is me. It is I. Okay. We're up. One sec. I didn't mean to do that. Hello, hello, TiCup's team. Nice, let's go. Alright. Welcome back. A little late, but it's been a long week. Had to work yesterday. And, it wasn't the worst thing in the world, but this time, it's good to be back and to play a few games and have some fun. In my free time, I've picked up a new game, Schedule 1, and I've been playing a little Oxygen Not Included, and then what else? I've been getting my way through God of War. So yeah, I've been playing a few games, but I've been really waiting on this one. There's a couple of really good games that I got waiting for to stream or to play them as a series. But yeah, I'm excited to get back into it. Last time we found out that the Roottrees was not staying in line with the family. There were some people in particular, one of the presidents, not the first or the last one, that's all I know, was sleeping with multiple people, and that's pretty much all we know so far. We didn't exactly lock anybody in yet, but we have at least 3 people where we think they belong, and we have the occupation that we have matched. So if I were to guess, I don't know exactly what we were doing last time. Literally left my mind. But I've been thinking of this game too, because I'm like, wow, this is so much more to it. It's literally almost like a, would you call that an actual completion of the game, or is this some free DLC type? Or unless this is I don't know, it's almost real interesting, right? This feels like a new game so far. I mean, not like a completely new game, but it almost feels like a very upgraded in comparison to what we were just playing. So what I think I'm gonna look up, oh yeah, we were looking up some of the notable events and people that we were looking up. So we looked up a naughty mom, and they found out that she had a picture of her, perhaps with one of the people. Yo, what's up, Shippy? How are you? I hope your day's going well. That is the question, but it does feel like free DLC. Yes, absolutely. This doesn't feel like a... It feels like a continuation only because I knew what happened. But had I thought that this was going to be what happened after the fact, I would have been like, okay, that was not the end of the game that we experienced. I do really feel... I do like it, though. I like how it ended off, though. So I guess maybe this secondary part should be on its own, because the first was an experience for sure. I think we looked up everybody. The only person I don't think we necessarily looked into too hard was Clark. We already know that Clark, Clark is the current president, so we were looking up that, I believe. Let's see. Yeah, we learned about what happened and who eventually took over. But the other thing about Clark is we know in the original part that he was sleeping around. So, he definitely, because he has a history of infidelity, right? He very much could be on here as well. Maybe once or twice, who knows? Huh. What were we taking notes on before? So the last things we were looking up is Jane Doe Roottrie, and I believe that we discovered that Jane Doe, they tried to figure out, supposedly is not connected to the Roottrees. Basically, what was interesting about her story, though, is that, like they said, she had a very similar story to 5P's story. But supposedly, she's not related. Yeah, so Anani Mom is not on the updated root tree. So that's what we know about that. So let me look at a couple more notes. That's how we got. Where's the root tree? That's how we got these folk right here. But we need to figure out at least one more person, to be honest. And my last person we were looking up, I believe, was something a little bit about Miracle. I think we were looking into Miracle, and we thought it was real interesting. He had so many opposing views, right, to a lot that went on. It was just like unnecessary, right? I guess he felt like he was the oldest, or he felt like he was entitled to being the oldest, even though he very much wasn't. But yes. Yeah. So we read that he changed his stuff. Maybe I should just start with the evidence. That's kind of like what I'm thinking. I'm like, you don't have anything else, you start with the evidence. So, the one with the most, we got two. We got reminders, and then we got the Piketty. So let's look into this a little bit more. We're supposed to get 8 things from it, so I am a little confused when it does come to this, because we suggest you focus on notable events and reminders. Interesting. Okay. When you find more evidence or lacking family members, new discoveries will be added to the list, and old evidence will become less useful. So I guess my theory is like a specific piece of evidence. So maybe this is not necessarily like somebody's name, job, occupation, and a picture, right? But this just means one of the 3 I could potentially find from there. So, I mean, in general, that just means that there's a lot to find from here. Let's look into this Piketty magazine. I don't know if we Googled it or spider searched it. Piketty magazine is a publication that, as far as you can tell, has no consistent theme. It seems to contain tabloid-esque articles that appeal to a wider variety of audiences and appears in many grocery stores near the checkout line. Unlike traditional tabloids, trying to put my mic closer, it doesn't typically feature celebrities on the cover. Instead, it tends to latch onto and create sensationalist headlines about whatever subject appears to be popular at any given time. In recent years, it has included Beanie Babies, Magic Eye Images, and even Red Bull. It has often come under fire for printing fiction along with facts. Okay. Piketty gets around this by stating that every issue and all of its articles are all hearsay. That's to find. That's the fit to print. Okay, so essentially, without getting too excited, whatever we're reading may or may not be true. So we're gonna go back and read that Piketty, but this is important. This is about the thing. At one point, Piketty ran an article about Cicely, an author she claims to have written an unread book about Guy Hudson. The article is not even the main focus of the issue, yet the magazine was threatened legally by the Roottrees Corporation. The particular issue, Big Sass Seabass issue, was pulled from the shelves. It has now become a collector's item, especially amongst conspiracy theorists attempting to figure out what the Roottrees company is hiding. We find a recently finished online auction that listed a copy over $1,000, though nobody bid. Let's see. There could be something that we can get from this. Let me highlight this for later. I'm gonna move this down. It's like all this light in my face. mic shadow. That's fine. Big sass sea bass is a talking fish that sits on a fake. Ah, did we get a picture of this sea bass thing? Ah, okay. When you press the button and speak into it, it mimics your false voice and then insults you. Wow. Many consider it a ripoff of a more popular well-known communication-based fish decoration, but the packaging makes it clear that this one does not sing. Instead, what the advertisements say set Big Sass Sea Bass apart from his competitors is a sardonic and sarcastic wit that will leave you reeling with laughter. It's oceans of fun for the whole family. You'll be hooked on this big sassy bass. The words reeling, oceans, and hooks are conveniently bolded, ensure you recognize how clever the copywriter was. Great, 10 out of 10. Recently, it's appeared on the cover of Piketty, in the same issue that a Roottrees related article appeared. That issue was removed from stores after the Roottrees sued the magazine. The issue has become a collector's item and is ripe for conspiracy theories about what the Roottrees were trying to keep from the people. Okay, so I want to also search this elsewhere, right? There could be multiple places we could search this. An issue that focused on a talking fish. This looks like something we read before. Yep, she didn't have the right to publish because she had pictures that he didn't want, or she wasn't allowed to share. Okay. I don't know why we would search this, but imagine. Oh, all the hearsay that's fit to print. Okay, no. I was surprised it didn't take me back to the original. There must be a certain amount of number per thing. So maybe like a certain number per of words, you know, that it gives you the search thing. So maybe we might be able to just okay. This is eight years old. Oh no, 8 months old. Okay. Let me go back to the original thing. I guess this Piketty thing. I'm like, well, maybe it's something else there. Okay, I guess we'll look into another lead. Let's read what we got in here about this thing. So it's just a summary of what we got going on. And we already know that it was about guys. She didn't have the rights to publish. Yes. Maybe there's more about Sicily. Because, like, theoretically, what if Sicily belongs on this list somehow, some way? How did you... God dang it. There we go. Let's search Sicily Sanchez. And I know we've been on this page before, but it's always worth looking. Okay, so Recently, she appeared in a magazine called Piketty. We know that. Who commissioned her to write this book? Okay. Did we listen to her other book? Before we do this, let me just triple check we have everything we have here. So she's probably only gonna appear on Piketty, but we might as well look just in case there's something else. And she's a writer, so I don't necessarily think that. What about news? News Time briefly covered a lawsuit between Ruby Spratt and Piketty magazine surrounding Cicely. They said that she didn't have the right to redistribute the pictures. Piketty apparently announced that they would be pulling their issue the following day, the moment that Ruby Enterprises threatened them. This caused the issue to sell faster than any other magazines in history, though only for a day. Even people that would never normally purchase, they went out of their way to buy one just in case it'll be worth something someday. Okay. An expert legal analyst from News Times states that it was unlikely that Ruby could have had the story pulled if it gone to court. Piketty got more eyes on it than it would have if the Roottrees just ignored the story. So they basically are saying that they pretty much made more publicity to this, Piketty thing. All right, so we'll look at the other stuff that we don't think that she's on, and I think we clicked this already, and then we'll go straight into Piketty and see if this is like just the same thing. Yes, it is. Okay, so now we are going to put her here. And then we'll search this. Uh-oh, I copied instead of pasted. I pasted instead of copying. There we go. Okay. Tells a tale of a man from a Catholic church who claims that he was told by God that he should travel to Thailand and began to preach specifically with the goal to convert 10,000 people. He returned to the United States after just 2 years, claiming to have succeeded. This book tells his version of the story, but the author, Cicely Sanchez, also traveled to Thailand to investigate these claims and talk with some of the so-called converted. Let's look into this foreign gospel before we hop into this portrait of a changed man, because I feel like we might have did that already, perhaps. I don't even think this will be up here realistically. It's just about a book. We don't have no other periodicals at the moment either. Interesting. Now, you know what I think about? I think about Miracle when I think about this. But could she perhaps been, looking at more than one person in the Roottrees family, more specifically? Let's copy this. God dang, I keep doing that. I need to just use the in-game system, but I can't when it's highlighted. So, oh, I can. I just could have did that. Interesting. All right. This book description has this to say, and we read it again. We'll just read it one more time. Thank you for the support, TiCup's team. What if everything you stand for, everything you know to be true today could disappear in an instant? All of your politics, relationships gone in the blink of an eye. Would you still be you? Cicely Sanchez tells a powerful story, a true story about a man who woke up after being saved from his drowning in his backyard pool and became an entirely different person. Included are interviews from those that knew him best before, as well as a one-on-one chat that paints an entirely different picture. You won't be able to put it down without wondering, what if it were me? Well, let's look into this a little bit more. Oh my god, I just looked at the date. Jeez, I did it again. Nonfiction with the focus of exploring the darkness in the human psyche. Okay, I feel like I'm at another dead end. I'm like, maybe I should go back and look at the evidence again. Alright, what about this 6 pieces? Yes, we know that Sam, we I don't know how soon we got this book. I'm not sure. This might have been one of the couple, maybe the more recent evidences that we had. We start off with like only the 3. Sam's book has a few different passages about her own history with the company and the rumors and the gossip that she collected during the tenure. She ran the farm from a period starting in 1968 after the death of Elias Roottrees until her daughter Gwyneth took over in 1984. Most of the relevant rumors coincide with the reign of Guy Hudson, who took over as president in 1978. Sam was very much not a fan of Guy, according to 6 pieces, and it was an open secret within the family that Guy was not very much a fan of being faithful to his wife Patricia. Yes, and we know he was spending money on private parties. Let's see. Sam warns most of it is hearsay, but still, some of this is relevant. Yeah. Okay, so what I wanted to look at was a note. There was something at the beginning that we thought was important. Yeah, so we got the Elizabeth, somebody that was a secretary. But who would Elizabeth's last name be? Maybe we have to go back into it. A caterer from a local restaurant. So she is a caterer. So let's look into this, but more so we'll keep looking. And then what were we just looking at? Who was a caterer? So this person, we're literally finding this person's maybe their first name or a nickname and their job potentially here. Is it this one? No. Let's see. It's been in the thing twice. The owner sold the land that the building was on, and by the time of the article, she was unsure if the restaurant would move to a new location or she would retire. Okay, so Christine and her husband, Steve, they were, he was a chef, and then she delivered produce. Okay, so she's a secretary, but I found it interesting. I don't even know where to go from here. So we do remember that these two people worked. This guy, her husband, worked at a Toneless, and Christine herself worked at the farm. Right. We also know that. Where was the first one? Is it in here? Probably. One of Sam's farm supervisors was named Elizabeth. Had a daughter who Sam never met, but who worked as one of Guy's secretaries. According to Elizabeth, a caterer from a local restaurant met her daughter at one of Guy's parties, and they eloped quickly due to a pregnancy. Can I highlight the whole thing? No. Give me this. Give me that. Yeah. Okay. So would that mean that is Elizabeth even a name that we could put? Let's just go to an empty name. Okay, so there's definitely some names in there that probably belong. So I'm confused because these stories seem like exactly this part really does throw you in the deep end and tells you to figure it out. No, for real. I'm like, wait, why is this story so familiar in a way? It's like this side it says they eloped quickly due to a pregnancy. This side says they eloped. Now she has a bun in the oven. Interesting. So let's start trying Butler County Times, maybe. And then what was her husband's name? Steve? Yes, and then that's how we got on the rabbit hole last time of basically just we knew that he sued somebody for copying off of his recipes. Okay, so I think if this is a direct copy of it, then we can assume that this could be directly about what happened between Steve and Christine, maybe even. So it's a book that combines recipes and stories, had a mild popularity, but seems to disappear from online marketplaces in 1992. You find a scan of one story on a website. It demonstrates how to bake the plated loaf. For years, two bakers, Flora Yates flirted. They grew up in their friendship. They grew their friendship, compared recipes, and combined knowledge. She loved his salt and pepper beard. He adored her rosemary cheeks. They thought sweetly about another, but he was one day whisked away, conscripted to make the army's bread. Maybe a slightly different story. This is saying that somebody went to the army, I assume, By the oil of the lamp, Flora tears began to salt her bread. It was 10 to 12 later that they met again, seemingly by fate. Flora's unique dough had earned her position as the king's personal baker. Yates had found success as well. He baked for the kingdom's 45 diplomats. One day he returned from the Dutch Isles with a gift. 450 baked loaves, and they were sent to the palace bakery to teach a method that required no kneading. Upon seeing Yates, Flora was delighted and distraught. She felt as though she was torn in two. She had not been aware of the gift, and she had already prepared buns to place in the palace ovens. She wished to greet Yates warmly, but was struck by fears he'd be unable to bake with her. Yet that she would face retribution for being unprepared. She crawled out to Yates and added more salt to her dough. Yates eased her pain. He insisted that she had no obligation to prepare for a return she thought was impossible. But he shared her fear of retribution. He knew if they did not solve the predicament, they'd miss their final chance to bake together. In the end, instead of wallowing in the present, they worked together to shape the future. They twisted and intertwined their doughs and baked them as one. Thus was born a plated loaf. Word quickly spread of this new delight. The king's decree on royal parchment that it was to be considered a delicacy. Bankrolled by the king, Flora and Yates spent their days baking together. They traveled for 45 years, then settled down for 15 more. Their souls were golden with no regrets. Okay, I guess. This could be slightly different. Like, it may not be the exact same thing. Let's look back into Mark Zimmer. Why do we need to know about salt water? Why is that important? Why did I even highlight it? Oh my gosh. No. Okay. Yes. Imagine like you get an achievement for maybe searching every word on a page or something like that. Did we even look into the wife? Let's look up the wife's name, Rochelle. Oh, nothing interesting. Okay. Maybe we should look up the location bookmarks. Book signings. Okay. Dead end. So they both were local business owners. Interesting. A little. Yeah, so Miracle was like basically saying that, this guy couldn't be the family regardless because he didn't like what he did and he thought he was a bad guy. He didn't like the raps and whatnot. Miracle also says that the story about his father shunning EC was one-sided. Interesting. I don't know. It's like all of this can help me. This is gonna give me where Miracle is on this. But I gotta figure out who Miracle would have had an affair with anyway. If this is to tell me Miracle, a lot of this to take a picture of him for sure. Interesting. Okay, so basically his son didn't want to comment, and Clark says, Clark basically made a statement for him, for the family. But where would Miracle go? Miracle could be, obviously a sinner himself. Or Miracle could literally just be here. And then what was the spouse's name? Helen. And we don't have a picture of Helen. And we clearly don't have somebody right, so could a guy belong here or here, perhaps? So we know that he was trying to, guy was trying to tap into some markets by, didn't he produce that caviar candy or whatever that was nasty probably? Let's see, he bribed somebody to keep a factory open. Okay, here's the Sam speculations. Okay. She speculates that Elias may have also cheated on Gwyneth. Gwyneth was such nicer to Sam. Gwyneth. We don't have a picture of Elias right now, but interesting though that they speculated that Elias probably cheated. Let me search Elias and Gwyneth. Elias and Gwyneth were never really celebrities, but the general public perception of them as classic faces associated with the Roottrees Candy Company have always been in somewhat high regards. This was Elias's intention as a family man with his family brand. They spitting. Since Six Pieces, the candy company has placed much less emphasis on Elias as a historical brand-connected figure. But there have also been those who have argued that it was his right to decide how to exploit his inheritance and that he did nothing wrong. This has led to some heated television and exchanges and op-eds. I'm sorry, what? The first Anderson Maple Farm used to be a popular tourist attraction during the summer months when it had special hours. However, it has since seen an explosion of off-season business as somewhat religious and political groups decided to visit to show support for Elias and Gwyneth's traditional family values and financial rights. This rise in support was followed by pickets from gay rights activists when some particularly inflammatory organizations made their pilgrimage. So basically, as they found out what happened, like gay rights activists were protesting and whatnot. Amongst all this conflict, the farm has since shut down seemingly indefinitely. The website says check back later, but has no date listed. The quotes from Bess Williams' book appears to be taken down. Holy moly. Okay, let's look up Gwyneth Roottrees. Or let's keep looking up Elias before we separate from this idea, right? This is old. This is old. This is old. Gwyneth Roottrees. Does she want to be in here? She would be here, maybe. Let's just search her name before we go to the next thing. Okay, same thing. Okay, so we will look up the Anderson Maple Farm. And then let's see. Let's look it up in the Boulder County Times. Oh, this is old. Okay. Then what do they want me to figure it out? I doubt that this will give me anything, but no. Huh. So also, going back to this, Sam speculated that Gwyneth was able to coerce Elias and allowing Sam back into the family with some type of leverage, instead of it being a natural course of events. They were loudly argue about another woman. So we know that he had a secretary. Is that something that we could look up? is it just Ernie Jr.? Okay, now we found the search. Oh, this says no. Carl Roottrees died in a plane crash and ended last year along with his daughters, the Roottrees sisters, and his wife Brenda. You're pretty familiar with that moment in history now. While the Bullitt County Times did do a story about the plane crash that is in these archives, there's no useful information in your search. If you like to read older articles, including the previous version of this one that mentions... okay. I don't know. I'm gonna just take a water break so I can clear my head. I don't know where the game wants me to go. Like, genuinely, I'm a little lost for words. We're gonna keep going. So we got these notable events. I don't know. I feel like we looked up all of them. Did we look up the Roottrees Rift? So let's start at the beginning, I guess. 6 pieces. We can comb over what we already seen. Was it one word? Oh. You know what else we could look up? Her dad's name. Uh-oh. Type that right? Yeah. Okay, so maybe he doesn't have anything with him. I don't think this will come up with anything, but it's worth to see it. Oh. Indecisionitis is a disease coined by a popular sketch show as a part of a fake pharmaceutical advertisement for Jit Together. While the segment isn't fully about the Roottrees Candy Company, it was released in the weeks after the bizarre response to the release of 6 Pieces by Sam Matson and refers to some recent news. In the sketch, a woman ordered number 5 at drive-thru speaker, and then pulling forward, she changed her mind at the window, asking to switch it to a number 3. This caused a lengthy backup and annoyance amongst the restaurant's employees and other patrons. She pulled away as the employees began helping other customers, and the same woman barged into the restaurant and passed the current line, loudly complaining that she didn't receive her number 5. After this, the sketch transitions from the restaurant scene into a pharmaceutical commercial. A doctor claims that the woman was suffering from indecisionitis, a disease that causes extreme confusion, irritability, and has been recently found severely hinder the leaders of large corporations, but could also spread to humans. The doctor recommends Jit Together, a fake pharmaceutical drug. Multiple testimonials include variations of the catchphrase, "When I can't get my tough decisions, I gotta get my Jit together." It's kind of silly. Final testimonial included a bald man in a silhouette voice saying, "I'm not comfortable sharing who I am, but I am comfortable saying that before I took over my family's candy company, I really should have gotten my Jit together." Great. Alright, let's search that. Would it be in that Piketty? Weird. Okay. Let's don't know. I'm like literally just slowly trying to work through it. Could just be like the long week, my brain, you know. Let's look more into the Roottrees Rift, I guess. What if we look up Sam Matson? That's crazy. So we potentially could have looked up Sam Matson way back when. So probably in Bel Air County Times, right? What about now? No? Interesting. Alright, let me take a quick little bathroom break, get my mind together. Give me a second. Let me get some water as well. Be right back. hit my elbow. That's what you just heard. All right, now we gotta figure this out. I'm a little like, I don't know what to do. I might take a little guided hint to see what we should be looking at or looking into. Because, I don't know, it's a little late, it's been a long week. I deserve a hint, okay? Even if this is the only hint I get. I haven't searched for everything on my list of notable events. Is that what I did last time? Is that the same hint I got last time? Did we look up 6 pieces and everything? We looked up the Roottrees Rift. Did we look that up in Butler County Times? I feel like we looked up Clark. And we learned about this Ruby Sprat person who owns that Ruby Legal. Yeah, she's a lawyer that helped them. So basically, it looks like she's just a lawyer that helped them open up other stuff. Like helped them fix the clan's trust and whatnot. Basically, she figured out it wasn't legally sound. Yes, and that leads us back to Cicely Sanchez, which is confusing to me. Sade, please leave the kitty cats alone. Spare those cats. Okay, so the hint we got is to look more into 5Ps. Okay. We know that he's a Roottrees. We know his name. Okay, so Root of All Evil is the debut album. According to various sources, the album is mostly material that 5Ps recorded for his mixtapes before he became notable, but re-recorded with lyrical differences in professional productions. All Your Problems was the first and only single released. After dropping the single, 5Ps announced that he retained the infamous lawyer, Stewie Whitlock, to sue his family. To date, it doesn't seem like he's followed through. At first, the single didn't make much of a splash, but Whitlock, known for its publicity stunt, paid thousands of teenagers a few dollars an hour to call and request the video on MTV, which increased its profile. MTV eventually caught on and banned the video altogether, which in turn received national news coverage, making the song more popular. Okay, well then that tells me that, god dang, what the fudge. The game's UI is definitely something that could be frustrating sometimes. But then again, I got big fingers, I guess. Clumsy fingers. Okay, I guess not. Maybe we have to look up the song specifically. All Your Problems. The track is the only song from the album. The subject matter of the song is a hypocrisy of those who claim that money is evil. He points out that the only people who think money is evil is those who have it. Those can afford it, not to be greedy. In the song, 5Ps triumphantly talks about the Roottrees' wealth due to it being his birthright and giving it those who need it the most. Okay, nice. And we have that in our inventory. But I want to look up this Steve Willock person. Who is this? Steve Willock is a lawyer with a history of publicity stunt with gas grandstanding. Almost thought that said gaslighting. Still, oh, that's a woman. Still, she's managed to rack up quite a few legal victories for C-list celebrities and athletes. She became famous in the mid-1980s after successfully suing a multinational sandwich company whose 12-inch subs were actually average 11.5 inches long. Stevie argued that since the company sold 1 billion sandwiches per year, that it was enough missing sandwich to make a sub long enough to span New York to Los Angeles. The jury awarded her paltry $5,000, but the news coverage of her crusade turned out to be priceless. Unfortunately, none of this seems to be related to the Roottrees. Okay, Alright, let's look into the song. I'm glad we got some evidence. All Your Problems. Love it. 10 out of 10. Very simple. Very straight to the point. It received airplay but didn't make a big splash critically or commercially. Still, it's kind of catchy. Attention, attention, Roottrees. This is 5Ps coming at you from the real world. You know, the place you ain't never lived in. Maybe that's like a thing. I'm like, what rhymes? You say money is the root of all your problems. Root of all your problems. Oh, we can play it. LMAO, hilarious. Hypocrites sit back in your massive estates, build from the cash that your ancestors gave you, acting like you somehow deserve it based on your family's creations. But looky here, sonny, don't come for our money, or you might burn bright in hellfire someday, like that Madsen chick and her 2 dads. What? My Pappy's clan's trust just keep you away. Yo, it's disgusting catching a sermon from a geezer who's never known a hurt but blurts out these claims that we're sinners because we didn't earn it, when all your worth came free with your name. You expect me to teach your lectures on greed and some expert creed from he without blame. How about I instead turn the other cheek and spread them? Oh, wow. When you give me a kiss, you know where to aim. You say money's the root of all your problems. Let me take those problems away. Whoever calls dollars the root of evil, they're just trying to make small pursuits of real people. Your silver spoon feeds, the world's purest treacle? Hold on. I gotta define this. Treacle? Treacle. Okay, a thick, dark syrup made from partially refined sugar. Okay, I've never heard of that one before. I'm not gonna lie to you. So once more with passion, tell us, poor tragic orphan, how your mansions and Porsches are actually horrible. I'm better off penniless, grasping for morsels. How wanting my share that's actually extortion. Your candy ass name synonymous with sweets. You want to call me cashless, some gangster from Portland, but I play that game. I came up on the streets. The only streets you've wept in are Park Place and Boardwalk. Your hypocrisy monopoly is toppling when I have to knock the G's off my pockets, please. Okay, I'm gonna have to look up some gameplay. Did somebody try to rap this for real without hearing it? Because the same God that got to steal my mom from me is what he wants, right? For you to live in poverty, and you're suddenly not eager to unhand that fortune. That's unfortunate. I guess I'm gonna have to take my portion, and I'll do it legally. Class actions, courtrooms, decorum, my way past your fancy ass doorman. You say money is the root of all evil. Let me take those. Okay, let's listen to this.
Attention, Roottrees. This is 5Ps coming at you from the real
That sounded a lot better than I thought. I didn't know he was gonna have a backup singer.
Man, y'all are hypocrites, sitting back in your massive estates, built from the cash that your ancestors gave you, acting like you somehow deserve it, based on your family's creations. Yo, but look at here, sonny, don't you come for our money, or you might burn bright in hellfire someday, like that medicine.
He's mocking Miracle.
From a geezer who's never known hurt, but blurts out these claims that somehow we're sinners because we didn't earn it. When all of your worth it came free with your name, you expect me to treat your lectures on greed as some expert creed from he without blame. How about instead I turn my other cheeks and spread them? When you give me a kiss, you'll know just where to aim.
You say money is a
This ain't as good as the Rolling On Down to the City, I'll tell you that much. But it's good.
Whoever calls dollars the root of all evil, just trying to make small pursuits of real people. You silver spoon feeds you the world's purest treacle, while real world folks burning spoons for the needle. So once more with passion, tell this poor tragic orphan how your mansions and Porsches are actually horrible. How I'm better off penniless, grasping for morsels. How wanting my share, that's actually extortion. With your candy ass name, synonymous with sweets. Oh, you wanna call me classless? I'm gangster from Portland, but I play that game. I came up on the streets, the only streets you reppin' are Park Place and Boardwalk. Hypocrisy, monopoly is toppling. When I knock, have G's top off my pockets, please. Cause the same God that got to steal my mom from me is what he wants, right? For you to live in poverty, and if you're suddenly not eager to unhand that fortune, that's unfortunate.
This is a good song.
I'm gonna have to take my portion.
I'm reading it again and wasn't going through.
Class action, courtroom, decorum, I'm way past your fancy ass dormant.
You say money is a root of all your problems. Let me take those problems away.
Okay.
You say money is a root of all your problems. Let me take those problems away. You say money is a root of all your problems. Let me take those problems away.
Whoever calls dollars the root of all evil, just trying to make small pursuits of real people. You silver spoon feeds you the world's purest treacle, while real world folks burning spoons for the needle. Whoever calls dollars the root of all evil, just trying to make small pursuits of real people. You silver spoon feeds you the world's purest treacle, while real world folks burning spoons for the needle.
That was a good song. Now we back to the usual. What about the music? Okay. There was another song, I believe. Poser for my action figure collection. So they thought he was lying, maybe? His mother overdosed. So what we know is that his mom, Joanna, passed away. Now, I don't know if that means anything in particular about where he would go, but I don't think we have any markings for people who would have passed away or not. Is this it? Sparkling pop, I will drink some. listen to that. I try not to drink a lot of sugar, so I've been drinking some of this when I go out to eat. I might, get some pop or whatnot, but just been trying to stay away from pop. So if I do get pop, I'll try to get these. This kind of tastes like a this is like an Aldi brand. It kind of tastes like a strawberry Fanta. I would say the peach one is good too. Do we get his name? And his name is David. And I believe we looked this up as him talking about Raina or something. Excuse me. Yes, I Could Jump is a song on a 5-piece mixtape, Dirty Devil. It seems to be the only one that didn't make it into a studio album people thought should have. In it, he references a popular movie called White Man Can't Jump. The references caused some confusion amongst the fan base. Because of it, it is agreed upon that the mixtape had to come out in 1992 at the earliest, but others point out that Fellows references seeing the movie on his 17th birthday. That would have been in 1994. Okay. I wrote that down. So So he was born in 77. 1977. Interesting. Okay. That's good to know, though. We know kind of an age range to look up. I just try to figure out what do I look up? Some take this to mean that the album have been released in 1994 at the earliest. Others claim that he was just trying to make himself sound older, since in response to some of his more questionable lyrics, he has stated multiple times he was just a dumb kid when it was released. So we don't know. We technically don't know if he's 17 or 19. No, 17 or 15 when he wrote this. Or no, actually, yeah. Alright, let's look up this dirt poor thing. Alright, so I guess we'll talk about what we know. My brain just, it doesn't appear to be working all the way right now. And I don't know if it's just because I'm tired. It's been a long week. I did work a full 8-hour, not 8-hour day. I worked 8 hours on Friday, and then I worked 6 hours on Saturday. So, you know, it's been that kind of thing. But what we know, what do we know? We know that this guy, Felix Fellows, his name was Daniel Fellows, or what was it called? I want to say we don't have these people right where they are. Perhaps, like, maybe Guy is over here. Miracle also could not be here. I don't really know. I might take another quick hint just to see where they lead us. What does that mean, bro? Evidence. Reminders. Okay, so we'll mess around with the Latin reminders. And I want to say in here it says, it was something in here that said something that we're more likely to remember. Okay, so let's go back into this. This is probably where I'm stuck at because I'm expecting to see something new or to be like, okay, what am I looking up? But clearly that's not the case. All right, let's look it up. Let's start here at the top. We know that this is Elias and Gwyneth. Let's look up the Roottrees Candy Company to see if that changed the website itself or anything amongst the sorts. This is a new one. The design has become more sleek and corporate. Gone is any history focused on Elias Roottrees. Instead, the site seems to focus on the present status of their candy offerings with high-quality JPEGs of each of their products. They also add some small ads for Root, which is the clothing company owned by the Roottrees Candy Company. There's a small section at the bottom that lists the president as Clark Rafferty LaRoe. Short bio mentions that he was responsible for some of their marketing before taking the reins of an unfortunate plane crash. After an unfortunate plane crash. There is a memorial, okay, for those that perished in a plane crash. Okay, interesting. Wow, okay, we get to find more information about it. Okay. Kurt Johnson and Mark Sanchez were the pilot and co-pilot of the Roottrees jet during its crash last December. And foul play has been ruled out. Trish King was on the cabin crew of the crew's private jet. Elizabeth Nicholson, who went by Eliza, lived with... Okay, I'm just highlight that. Uh-oh. Maybe too long. Okay. She lived in a house with her family about 200 yards from the section of the woods where the plane crashed. She reportedly had a heart attack during the commotion, and her family weren't able to reach emergency services during being overwhelmed by poor phone lines and an ongoing storm. Her son-in-law managed to flag down an officer responding to the plane crash, but it was too late. Poor Elizabeth Nicholson. Okay, so we got a lot of names to look up. We got this name that we just found just now. Okay, that's probably... National Transport and Safety Board, and the United States is responsible for investigating plane crashes. Okay. Oh, it's Trish King. About the Roottrees sisters. The website used to initially place Raina, Rose, and Riley is still up, though. Instead of a cheery pink background, purple text is more of a traditional black text and white background. The young webmaster has turned the site into a memorial for the sisters and their father. It seems like she did end up getting her ears pierced like Rose after all. Regardless, there's no relevant information, just a picture of the girls with a sad MIDI piano playing in the background. From other higher profile sites, you find that a charity has been set up in the girl's name, the Roottrees Sisters Fashion Scholarship. Okay. Let's look that up. That's important. Sade, please leave the cats alone. I don't understand. What's going on? Why the dog gotta chase the cat? Sit down. Rude. Root website. The Root website has a small memorial section to the deceased members of the family, but it contains no new information. The most recent catalog, spring 1999, had an almost completely black cover with no text on it. On the leadership page, you learn that Root is currently managed by a designer who was apparently Brenda White's second in command. You don't recognize her name, but she seems unrelated to your search. There's also a scholarship page. On it, you find information about the Roottrees Sisters Fashion Scholarship. It is awarded to 3 underprivileged high school girls each year who wish to pursue a career in fashion. Apparently, it also gives them an opportunity to show off their designs on professional models on a real runway. According to the site, the fund was created directly from the shares that would have contributed to the inheritance of the Roottrees sisters if they were still alive, like other aspects of the clan's trust, and is managed by Ruby Legal Enterprises. Okay. I doubt that, yeah. And then let's look back into Ruby. Ruby is very interesting because how is she connected to the family other than her being a lawyer? They could just be throwing us off by giving us a whole bunch of names, you know what I mean? Many websites and news articles utilize Carl Roottree along with his daughters and wife Brenda. As far as you can tell, Carl and Brenda Roottree never had any marital issues. You do come across an article about Kristen Valadez, who claims... Jeez. Hello? Kristen Valdez, who claims to have been Carl's high school sweetheart before Brenda. She does not make any claim about having a child with him. She just appeared to be paid to talk about his early life. Most of it is boring, and she says that they met up when he was sent to private school near her hometown and broke up when he graduated and moved back to Butler County. Okay. Okay. So Miss Butler County? No, let's keep looking. It says an article, but I could probably not. There could be something that's not actually real. Okay. Okay. No, she wouldn't be in here. She would be at Butler County. Okay. Most of the action took place in Butler County, Pennsylvania, where the it's Raina. Let me look at Raina again. No, she would be in Teen Blast, maybe? They didn't actually add that to my audio. Okay, I was about to say, no, that's just the same thing. Okay. I guess we could look into Lauren and see what they got to write about her stuff. Gosh. In the wake of Six Pieces release, Lauren Roottrees, author between Life Between Wars, was tracked down by a reporter as being one of the most upscale memory care facilities. Oh, she was being in one of them. She was relocated back to Pennsylvania, where she became suffering from Alzheimer's. Oh no. There was a minor backlash towards the reporter that tracked Lauren down because they were caught standing on the ladder holding their camera over the privacy wall to take a photo of Lauren and her son Clark sitting on a bench outside a small pond on the premises. I don't think we'll find anything new here, but it's worth looking. Oh, yeah. When revisiting Lauren's book, there's a single passage that focuses on potential affairs in her family and immediate family. You've added the rest of it to your evidence. Okay, look at that. We got a little bit more. Okay. An entry titled Cruelty from Lauren's Roottrees diary, written in 1963. It focuses on the relationship between her mother and her father. While it offer only redundant information during your previous investigation, it mentions subject of affairs and may be more useful this time around. I am no stranger to true love. Jacob and I married at a young age that most seemed unfit to marriage, but he was also enlisting at the age that deemed unfit for war. We had no choice. I knew it in my heart that our marriage was one for the ages. He and I would still be together today if not for Okinawa. It was nearly 20 years ago, but there's an emptiness in my soul. I do not understand my contemporaries. So many girls I went to school with have taken multiple lovers. Girls, okay. So many of my girlfriends' husbands have been unfaithful. If I am to remain true to the ghost of a man with no chance of physical reciprocation, no potential for long conversation, how could it be so hard to love someone you can reach out and touch? Someone you could joke with? I've not had to deal with such madness at home. My parents are a perfect match in the worst way. My mother's cruelty is a perfect fit for my father's general spite. In turn, pop status enables her incessant need to gloat and feel superior. I have grown up with their cruelty and disdain for others my entire life. Even my family remains unspared. So, bro, why didn't people read this and be like, oh yeah, Elias was a bad person? You know? They make fun of my grandpop and his family sayings. Blood is thicker than syrup. Oh, wait, actually, my parents. Her parents are not Elias and... Okay. Interesting. They make fun of my grandpa saying blood is thicker than syrup. Nothing is thicker than Elias. They mimic Grandma Gwyneth lisp and see her kindness as weakness. Elias, please remember them. Not even our families, maladies, and religion go unmocked. That's crazy. Remember, God only put one eye in a miracle. I can't say without a doubt in my mind that my parents have never had eyes for anyone else outside their marriage. They're too self-centered to look astray. Are you sure about that? let's see. The clan's trust in the Roottrees company's unusual legal arrangement and the motivation for most of their major financial decisions. As a recap, the entire okay. Where is Clancy Edward in this? So he wrote. Yeah, we remember that he wrote it. Okay, let's keep looking. There's probably more to search, and there's probably more to come back to realistically. So red herrings, I'm assuming, are fake names, essentially. Below is a reminder of some of the... Okay. So let's go back and just make sure we search Elias Roottrees everywhere in the periodicals. Because I don't know if I think it's obvious that he probably cheated. Okay. Okay, we looked up Miracle Roottrees. Let's look up Gem Roottrees. Gem and Diamond apparently sent out some mail to Diamond Dallas that mentions that they didn't spend a lot of time near or around Candy Company anymore. So they really couldn't comment on any of the recent news. A best of album did get released to a CD during Roottrees Mania, and while neither of them have performed recently, the couple did a few signings at a local record store near their estate. During question and answer sessions, Jim has stated he hasn't been inspired to write any new lyrics. As far as you can tell, Jim and Diamond's marriage is still doing just fine, and they've never had any rumors about infidelity between them. Let's search as Diamond Dazzlers. Nope. Alright, now let's look up here. And then he will probably be in here or here. What was the band called? Jim and Diamond. Alright, so this is an old page. What about this one? Old page as well. Okay. What if I could look this up? Nah, that's old. Okay. So I think when we get a whole bunch of red tops to the things, I think we are going in the wrong direction. Oh God, bro, are you okay? Thank God. Oh no, the cat did throw up. Tried to get him some sensitive stomach food, but I don't know, man. Can we go back to some of their songs? Okay. Okay, so they're talking about the president. So maybe we could look up Zach Morton. All right, so this is interesting. So we already searched up Carl Roottrees. We looked up Guy Hudson. Who was the president before then? So we got everybody. All right, let's look up Stephanie and Brian Jones. Seems like Brian Jones has been busy updating Stephanie Jones' campaign website. The 2 new sections exist. First is baby photo. There you see a picture of a new family sitting together in a hospital. According to the site, our daughter was named after her grandmother, which ended up being very fitting considering she was born right before Christmas. Second is what's next. There's not much substance there right now, but it lists some small accomplishments and finishes with the recent rise in popularity and controversy surrounding my extended family. There's been some extra attention on me. Stay tuned for announcements in the coming months and how I plan to use this publicity to accomplish bigger and better things. All right, so we got a picture of a baby. Did she cheat on her husband? I can't tell. That is a brown baby. They both are kind of. She's not as pale as some, people could be. But okay, we got pictures of them. And then her name got inspired by whom? Grandmother. So Caroline? All right. What was it? Stephanie. Stephanie Landon, okay. Okay, and then let's put Miracle here. Let's assume that these are the different generations, right? So maybe 1, 2, 3, 4. So I would potentially put Miracle here, knowing that Elias was probably unfaithful. We could put Miracle here. And then we know that Stephanie was into politics. Yes, sir. Yes, yes. All right, what we got locked? We got Miracle, Guy. Yeah, so we knew Guy was the most. He had his willy whacker out his pants. Nice. I feel good. I felt confident before, at least about these two. I was like, Miracle, maybe. I don't know where Miracle went, but yeah, look at that. Oh, you just opened my door, I guess, huh?
Well, let me give you a short history lesson about the last few months of my life.
Okay.
3 different people contacted me. claiming that
Excuse me?
somewhere in their history, they might be Roottrees. First, that young man, the rapper. I ignored that one. He seemed dubious. But then I saw the news.
Mm-hmm.
I felt terrible. So I began helping the others. Because my doubts with Felix were so misfounded, I ended up putting too much faith in the second person that approached me. I went to the media prematurely. I admit my mistake there. But the third person who contacted me also had a credible case. Before I could help, the company got to them somehow. The fact that the family silenced them doesn't seem to fill me with hope when it comes to Clark's intentions. But you're making progress based on the leads he gave you. It's really hard for me to get a read on him. I'll let you handle it. I've sent you the case I've been working on, and some company records I managed to track down.
Nice.
The records are quite dense, but hopefully they're useful. Good.
Thank you. I didn't mean to cut this off, but thanks. You gave us a lot of good stuff. Where was that? We got baby in here. We should have put baby. I guess we would have got one right if we did that, huh? Oh, this is long. Okay, what can we look at that short? Is this one page? It is. Alright, from 6 pieces at prodigy.us to genealogy genie at prodigy.us. This is all the information I have on Regina Clementine Nissa Lazar from New Orleans, Louisiana, and her husband Stuart Clementine. She wrote me about a month ago. Apparently the Roottrees lawyers went after her since then. By the time I received her letter and called her, she told me she couldn't cooperate anymore. Her husband, who was a police officer and never knew his father, told her he thought he might be a Roottree, but he's estranged from his family and didn't want to pursue it because he had no proof. She wrote me behind his back. Normally I wouldn't be so sure, but she has some pretty credible facts. Some of it I've been able to confirm. Stuart's mother was named Mary Beth Clementine. She was pretty well known in the 30s and 50s to be a singer who went to... Miracle, we catching you. We catching you right now. We're catching you. Who went to a lot of churches. Wow, crazy. You can look her up online. She's pretty big proponent of adoption. I know for a fact that she came to Butler County a few times. I remember her from when I was younger. And Regina said that Stuart told her that they always seem to spend a lot of time at the Miracle Church. Okay. She sent me a photo to prove that she's who she said this is. I attached it to the email. What email? Oh, the picture. Okay. Okay, let's look up this Mary Beth Clementine. Mary Beth Clementine was a singer most popular in the years between 1942 and 1959. Her repertoire was a mix of religious and popular songs, and although she recorded a few records, they seem lost to time. The only one you find mentioned was a cover of He's Got the Whole World in His Hands, released under the new label New Edison. The one thing Mary Beth was known for was her adoptions. She's listed on many sites that mention adoption and her history of adoption. She adopted 2 children in the late 20s, Stuart and Mark. '40s, actually, not 20s. She spoke as an advocate for the benefits of adoption in front of the United States Congress in 1949, who were convening and to debate and discuss an adoption of an African-American child to a white family in the United States. She was specifically there to detail her experience going through the system and to adopt Stuart. Her other son was adopted later, according to a single line on the adoption site, under unusual circumstances. It surfaced that Mary Beth had been twice divorced, both times her manager, Sterling. This ended her career with the religious audience she had been catering to. While she performed occasionally since then, she mostly faded into obscurity. She passed away in 1994 at the age of 76 with a stroke. So she passed away 5 years ago. And then she's into music, so she's probably going to be in a lot of these things. Let's just search the Butler County Times and then we'll work our way down. Mary Beth Clementine came to Butler County a few times, played religious hymns at the Miracles Congregation's church. She's mentioned 2 times, though her first visit from 1949 was a significantly more substantial. Miracle Congregation welcomes Mary Beth Clementine with open arms. The article mentions that the church's leader was moved when he heard Mary Beth's recording of one of his favorite hymns, His Eyes on the Sparrow. He reached out to her personally. His Eyes on a Sparrow holds a very special meaning to me. As you know, I've had a very difficult upbringing, and it's no secret to my own eyes that I've always been a source of a struggle. The song is about overcoming sadness and hardship through Jesus. If God can find a way to watch over every sparrow, he can certainly watch over those who made in his image. My family fortune does me no good as the man of the Lord. It is much better spent spreading his word. I felt a kinship with Mary Beth ever since I heard her voice. Then I learned her personal story. I knew I had to help her in whatever way I could. The Bible is full of adoptions from Moses and Esther. Spending your life taking care of the helpless and to help themselves is incredibly noble. She and her son are welcome to stay in our guest home. The second visit was a few years later in 1953. The article mentions that her first visit was a massive success, and an insistence of Miracle's congregation she's returned for an encore performance. It also mentions the unusual circumstances of her second son's adoptions may have prevented her from touring recently, but it doesn't clarify. Okay, interesting. So Mary Beth, what was the last name? Clementine? And then what was her husband's name? Start with an L, I think. No, it didn't apparently. Sterling. Right now. Alright, and then the picture is here, I imagine. And then she had 2 boys. And the youngest is on the right, so we could assume the youngest is probably wearing the polo. Yeah, he's shorter and everything. Do we know which son she got first? Oh, so we know that Stuart was first, right? Alright, now let's look at that periodical article about her. Her second son's adoption. And then what was her other son's name? Mark? Stuart and Mark. think we can confirm she had an affair though. Like she got 2 sons, it fits perfectly. Okay, and then we learned this is about Stuart, right? Regina Clementine. Alright, and we'll figure out the first name later. He's a police officer. Okay, and then we got a couple more things here. I'm assuming this is where the 4 is coming from. I want to kind of just keep looking real quick. Let's go back to the original search. Let's search the he's got the whole world in his hands, and then we'll search the new label too. Okay, let's search this New Edison. New Edison is a small record label based in Los Angeles that existed. Well, nah, they don't mean the same thing, but you know. That existed for a few years in the 40s. It raced to release cover records of songs that were gaining in popularity. According to a website about the history of record sound, it was named after its founder, Sterling Edison. Its biggest claim to fame was being sued by the estates of Thomas Edison and Edison. Oh, okay. Uh-oh. That's not what I wanted to do. I want to highlight that. Okay. You find references to New Edison and Mary Beth Clementine on sites about old records. One collector says that the Holy Grail is a re-release of the old Rugged Cross and says that the first edition was originally published before she legally changed her name. Okay. Let's highlight that as well. Another site claimed that the police had to be called to New Edison Records after its owner Sterling Edison got physical altercation in public, leading to a divorce. There are no decided sources or evidence, and the site's content seems user submitted. Okay. Let's look this Edison Records versus Edsel. Edison Records was one of the first record labels named after Thomas Edison. The history of the company seems very unimportant, except for a potential lawsuit they received in 1949. Edison and Records versus Edsel. A website about lawsuits mentioned that it's a fun case because the name of the lawsuit was actually the biggest problem for the person being sued. A record producer called himself Edison was immediately outed as not being actually being named Edison. Edsel was a German last name, and at the time of founding the company, the U.S. was at war with Germany. The company's founder immediately settled to try to get a case. Okay. So is it what, Thomas Edsel? Oh, it's Sterling Edsel, right? Gosh. On the Rugged Cross is a popular hymn that's been covered by many artists. You won't find relevant information about it online. Okay. And then was there anything else? There was something on the periodicals about Mary Beth. Oh, we still didn't search multiple things about thing. His eyes on the sparrow. His Eyes on a Sparrow is a religious hymn. It's been covered many years by many artists, so it's likely not relevant to your search. The premise is that the singer realizes that they should not feel discouraged or disparaged by their troubles, as God is watching over every creature. If God can watch over and love someone as small as a sparrow, then the singer knows that God is there to watch over them. Okay. Okay, now let's go back to this, and then let's search. She's not in here though, but she'll probably be in modern music. Mary Beth Clementine was reviewed and advertised many times in Modern Music Monthly, but the most popular recording is the release of He Got the Whole World in His Hand. It was released under the label New Edison, and we searched this. It wasn't. Very positive review of her cover, and a writer complimented her voice and the tone of her guitar. The review had nothing to say about Mary Beth herself, so it's not much use to your investigation. There are also some other Mary Beth Clementine releases over the years. One of them is called The Old Rugged Cross. And then we search that. Okay. Okay. Alright, now let's read this real quick. You are getting given some partial staff records cross-referenced by Sam Madsen. These records are based on old tax mailing information and only detail the employees that work directly for Roottrees in their corporate office. The many laborers on their farms and in their factories are not listed. You're not sure how helpful it'll be except for crosses referencing guys' secretaries and visits overseas. Spider searching people just because they're listed in these books will likely be very time consuming and a waste of your time. Well, I'm gonna do it. But we need to search more specifically. We need to search this. Who is this? Elizabeth Cravensworth. And it would have been local. Weird. We know it's somebody named Elizabeth. There's another Elizabeth. Elizabeth Farrow. Okay. Albert Cross, Eli C. Roottrees. I mean, it could be worth just looking some people up too. Secretaries. Beth Knox. Okay, so basically these names probably don't come up with much. I was hoping the Beth or Elizabeth names were helpful. In 1977, it was announced that Zach would be retiring and Guy would be taking over at the start of 1978. They held a retirement party in November before spending the final month working on the transition. During 1976 and 77, final changes took place. Guy Hudson has replaced Ernest Madsen as special management. So I see. So now Guy is in charge. So let's look at the secretaries now. Oh, so Christine Garland used to work for the farm. Who could she be sleeping with, though? Beth Knox 50-year work anniversary bonus is crazy. That's crazy work. Beth Knox. We're just gonna put her here so we can. I feel like this will be helpful later. Like if we trying to look up another name, like we just replace her name and we'll have her first and last name readily available. Zach Morton retirement party. That's crazy. He spent more money on the bonus. 50 years is crazy. 50. 1926. Beth Knox was working there since 1926. Holy moly. In 1978, Guy took over. This began a particularly volatile period in the company staffing. Many travel expenses were listed, and Guy began trying to develop new 5 pieces flavors. The Schwartz name kind of. Look at that. Look at that intuition. Corinne Schwartz comes up in a few articles about local news stations in Pennsylvania. Some of the people attempting to track down a nanny mom were harassing her. She recently had to take leave of absence because she showed up at the car dealership where she works. People showed up there. She's begging people to stop the accusation so she can go back to live a normal life. Every article you find, the journalists involved have independently verified that she is not a nanny mom. She resides in Pennsylvania, though it appears she lives beyond Butler County limits. She was named in national tabloid. People that thought she was a nanny mom. It's impossible for her because her only child is still in middle school. Alright, I'm gonna move Beth Knox because I don't think that's her location. She only has one person and she is on this list. Interesting. That really was that really was like some type of intuition kind of thing. Emily Seenfield. Yeah, no, we weren't gonna get nothing from that. Susan Ford was hired under a special category. Who are you? Weird. Presidential office refurbishment, 52,000. 10,000 for 5 pieces development. Edward Roottrees retirement party. Damn, he ain't spent much on Edward Roottrees retirement party. That's crazy. Christmas tree bash, New Year's Eve ball, travel expenses, Australia, China, France, Brazil. Holy moly. He tried to do caviar and butterscotch. Holy shit. The volatility continued. Many employees didn't tend to stick around for very long. The following changes were reported. Damn, within a year? That's crazy. Catherine Garrett. Okay. I wonder if that makes sense. Is that just like how people, you know, Gwyneth Paltrow. Ah, that's the mom. Okay. I was gonna say, does Stephanie have kids? But no. The tried strawberry. That's tried whatever Zeke was. Grandorf Dove donation. Gandorf School for the Deaf, formerly Gandorf Dove, is located about an hour from where the Roottrees offices used to be in Butler County, but it serves much of that part of Pennsylvania and nearby Ohio. According to the website, it was formerly named Gandorf Dove because Gandorf was the last name of the founder, and Dove is the Danish word for deaf. The founder has issues with government translators, leading to an odd transcriptions issue. In 1990, it was named to better represent the school's purpose to correct embarrassing lack of effort and awareness demonstrated by government officials in those early days. The staff is listed on the website. You scan through all the biographies, and you find that the principal, Miss Ford, fluent in 5 languages, including ASL, she has been working at the school for 15 years. Miss Ford's bio mentions that she's not deaf herself, but rather learned sign language to communicate with the deaf. It mentions that she was responsible for securing funding for the Hudson Ring. Uh-oh. And what was her name? Something Ford. Susan Ford. I don't know. We gonna put her here. Then we got Ford as the last name. Yep. We don't know what she did. Oh, she was a teacher. Principal. So would that make her yeah, principal. We don't have a picture of her, but okay. Okay, Guy Hudson died in May of '82. So the first few months of that year continued the same pattern they have been. Things quickly changed when Ernie took over. Most of the extraneous expensive ended, and all of the secretaries, mostly picked by Guy Hudson, were let go. Sam Matson left Roottrees in 1984, so this is the last books you have access to. Bro, imagine all of these names we could look up and he cheated on them. Work Time Temp is a temp company that for many offices over the United States. Roottrees Candy Company is listed on one website as one of the companies they do business with, but it's far from the only one you recognize. As far as you can tell, there's no connection between the work shift temp, work time temp, and the search. Fred Gleason. Okay. I feel like we made a lot of progress today. We got 4 done, and although like I'm not certain about the 2 women that we don't have pictures of, I do feel a little certain about, like, you know, the kids up here and what they could be doing. Also, depending on this, I would say just because this happened in '98, this is still a baby probably. So we can either leave that as baby or put it as something else. But we'll figure out what Mark Clementine did at some point. Look, we got more. Crocodile Clementine is listed on the website as the infamy list. It's a massive list of criminals who are known for odd crimes. Although Mark's nickname would imply that he hails from Florida, a lot of others on the list come from there or Australia. Mark is listed as being from Los Angeles. He is a pretty big entry and seems like a real piece of work. There's a very small note about him being the basket baby of 1950. But there's mostly everything comes from his adulthood. He lost his job in 95 as a pilot for an airline. He tried to board the wrong airplane. He was drunk. He was charged with trespassing and assault. In 1982, he was arrested for transporting smuggled animals over the Canadian and Mexican borders for a legal reptile supplier in Los Angeles. He was apparently quite successful over the first 4 years, but was caught when he had to make an emergency plane landing in Portland after he was bitten in the foot by a crocodile, hence the nickname. Apparently, Portland Telegraph is credited to have given them this nickname. Portland Telegraph. Okay, his mugshot from the incident has been added to your photos. He was released on parole, but his freedom didn't last long. He was arrested in 94 for violating an attempt to visit his daughter's graduation. He's famously punched the principal, a man named Billy Sims. This incident received national press. Okay. That makes me want to move from here. Alright, but yeah, as we said before, it's been a good one. I have to work in the morning. It's 12:30, so I hope you guys have had a good one. We've started off, our brain was hurting quite a bit, and I was trying to get focused, but yeah, it was a pretty good time. Yeah, next time I'll be live will probably be Tuesday afternoon, probably after my appointment. And yeah, probably potentially starting at 4, maybe even starting a little early. Don't be surprised if I wake up at the crack of dawn and we do like a really early stream. I just, kind of want to put something out there. And also, I've been wanting to like go live with other stuff. So when I do have time, like maybe I can go live, maybe on Twitch or maybe on YouTube. I feel like with YouTube, I feel like I maybe need to make thumbnails. I don't think that's the case, that requirement or anything like that, but that's just kind of the feeling and the vibe I get. But yeah, like I said, I hope you guys have a great one. It's been a really good one, and we actually solved quite a few things. I think we have a good understanding of what's going on here. However, I think when it comes to those people saying, oh, these people didn't have any marital problems, you don't know that. You don't know that. That could be something like, oh, leave this lead alone type of thing, but this game kind of throws us off, even if they think we don't use anything we could. But yes, that being said, I hope you guys have an amazing day, and I'm gonna go get some rest, sleep, water, rest. And you guys have a good day. I'll see you on Tuesday, and maybe Thursday we'll try a new game, or we'll swap it in. We'll figure something out. But we gotta figure out the next game we're gonna start. So I want to maybe ask you guys that a little bit more later on in the week and see what we come up with. But yeah, I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you Tuesday. Peace out.